Venom Snake's story is a complicated, tragic mess. He's a war criminal who builds a nation of soldiers, diamond dogs, and wields them to crush anyone they're contracted to crush. He's not all bad though. Venom has a soft spot for animals, kids, and anyone he feels needs protecting. Does the good Venom does outweigh the bad? Can we even blame him for the bad things he does? We did a poll on YouTube asking if we could blame Venom for the things he's done, and the majority of you said it's complicated, but a terrifying amount of you blamed Venom. Listen. BB's the one to blame, and I'm going to prove it to you in this video. Heads up, this video will spoil the true ending of MGS5. What's up? If you're new here, my name is Luffy, and welcome to my channel. I talk video games like Metal Gear Solid and Resident Evil. If you're returning, welcome back. While I have you here, I'm launching a Patreon. I love that I can bring these videos to you once a week, and Patreon will allow me to keep doing that, along with hopefully hiring an editor so that I can continue to improve the quality of the videos for you. Patreon will grant you early access to my videos, along with extra content such as polls and thought pieces on whatever Metal Gear Solid subject I have on my mind at the time. If you have it within your budget, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Okay, first things first, who is Venom Snake? From skilled medic to loyal body double. Venom wasn't always Venom. He started out as an unrivaled medic in BB's PMC, MSF. His skills as a medic and his unwavering loyalty to BB impressed enough that Venom was entrusted with the most top secret of missions. When intel came in that former MSF members Chico and Paz were being held at Camp Omega and being interrogated for info on BB and MSF, Venom was included in the mission to rescue them. Most of MSF was unaware of Paz and Chico's situation and were occupied with the upcoming UN inspection of the base. Not only was Venom in the know, but he was trusted with being the medic in charge of the POW's recovery once they were on Morpho's helicopter. That's a ton of trust. If he wasn't incredibly skilled, trusting the medical attention of two tortured POWs could have gone really wrong. Only Venom could successfully attend to the two POWs without losing either of them. He had to perform an emergency surgery on Paz while in a moving helicopter, and not only got the bomb out of her abdomen without setting it off, but also stitched her up and kept Paz alive. When Morpho pulls his helicopter into MSF's mother base, MSF is under attack. Venom is so seasoned and in tune with BB that he doesn't even need to be given any orders. He knows to stay on board the helicopter to provide medical care to Paz and Chico, while BB tries to save anyone he can from the base. When Morpho takes off again, things get even hairier. Paz awakens and reveals there's a second bomb hiding inside her. She leaps from the helicopter to try and save the people on board from the blast, but the blast hits the open side of the helicopter all the same. Venom leaps in front of BB to protect him from the bomb blast.
I cheated death thanks to you.
Venom takes all the injuries meant for BB. Those injuries are 108 foreign objects embedded in his body, which include shrapnel near his heart, and lodged in his head to give him a permanent horn. These objects were unable to be removed because of the potential to cause irreversible damage to his heart and brain upon removal. His left arm was also amputated below the elbow. All of these injuries caused Venom to fall into a 9-year coma. The fact that Venom survived at all is wild, and I'm sure he thought in the moment that he was giving up his life for BB. But his life isn't the only thing BB was prepared to take from him. In that 9-year coma, surgeons were contracted to alter Venom's body and face to resemble BB's so that he could pass as BB. BB painted a target on Venom's back to mislead his enemies so that he could build outer heaven without interference. BB didn't get Venom's consent for this. He just assumed that a loyal soldier such as himself wouldn't have a problem with it. And even if Venom did have a problem with losing his face and his old ties to any friends or family he had, BB would never hear it, as he had Ocelot erase his memories and trick him into believing he was the real BB through hypnotherapy. I'm starting to get ahead of myself, so before we start talking about whether Venom is good or evil, or can be held accountable for his actions, let's talk about what those actions were. Venom Snake's career as a war criminal. Venom starts his career as leader of the Diamond Dogs, a PMC who will contract with the highest bidder. They have no personal ideologies and fight for themselves, much like Outer Heaven. I'm not going to go through every individual mission to label them good or evil. We'd be here for the next 4 hours if I did that. Every mission Venom and the DDs went on, though, accumulated towards one goal: growing Diamond Dogs as large as they could. And what was Diamond Dogs' goal? Diamond Dogs were dogs of war that were willing to carry out even the most unsavory of jobs for their clients, while also taking pride in themselves as an organization. They were a unit of warriors that put their skills as soldiers to use without being influenced by whatever the politics of the times were. This doesn't sound like very good guy behavior, but it doesn't necessarily sound like bad guy behavior either. And I think that's the point of the Diamond Dogs. They're neutral to the times, and so neutral to what constitutes good and bad. What does that look like in practice, though? At one point, Venom refuses to assassinate kids as part of his contract. but he also considers training those same kids as child soldiers in his army. It's only when his second in command, Kaz, suggests they instead teach the kids skills that would help them escape the life of a soldier that Venom starts to look at them in a different light. Also, can we talk about Dee Dee for a minute? I absolutely adore Dee Dee, but he did rescue this puppy just to train them up to attack and kill enemies. Dee Dee's in the line of fire and can get shot. Can we really let Venom off the hook for putting a dog in the line of fire? The way Venom recruits for Diamond Dogs leaves a lot to be desired too. He straight up kidnaps people. Ocelot even implies that they have torture methods to get their new recruits on board and working for Diamond Dogs. Lastly, Venom keeps the Philanthropist as a trophy on Mother Base. If Metal Gear Solid has taught us anything, it's that no good ever comes from keeping a Metal Gear. Could this be argued as good though? Are weapons necessary as a deterrent to keep other, more harmful entities from using their weapons? Can people be deterred from using weapons without the show of force? Does stockpiling dangerous weapons only encourage others to do the same so that they can deter you from using your weapons as well? Moving on from Metal Gear 1, Venom forces Dr. Madnar to create TX-55 Metal Gear, a bipedal walking tank capable of launching nukes from anywhere in the world. He forces Dr. Madnar to do this by holding his daughter, Ellen, hostage. Venom clearly has taken a turn for the worse by Metal Gear 1. It's not all bad though. Venom has a soft heart and there's plenty of good he's done too. The good Venom Snake has done. Underneath the scowl, Venom is a big softie. He's always willing to take a chance on people. He saves both Quiet and Huey when pressured to kill both of them. Huey, the man responsible for the destruction of BB's old PMC and the death of most of Venom's friends in MSF, is put on trial in front of all the Diamond Dogs. He cost many Diamond Dogs their lives when he mutated the cure to the epidemic of vocal cord parasites sweeping through Mother Base so that it was no longer effective. It's revealed he killed the mother of his son by suffocation when he trapped her in an airtight pod. He helped the rogue Eli and his gang of misfit children put Philanthropist back into working order, which they then stole. He caused the deaths of so many, both past and future, as Eli didn't have any peaceful plans for Philanthropist, and definitely earned an execution, but Venom didn't grant him that. Despite pressure from his Diamond Dogs, Venom decided to exile Huey. Say what you want about Huey, but the same drive that made Venom exile him is the same reason why he didn't kill Quiet when he had the chance and welcomed her in as a Diamond Dog. Venom is always willing to give people a chance. Venom also loved animals. I know what we just said about Dee Dee, but putting that aside, Venom worked with an environmental NGO to rescue animals from dangerous war zones. Are soldiers responsible for their actions? Can this argument even be made for Venom? Was he just a soldier following orders? Was he at fault because he was the leader of the Diamond Dogs, so the buck should have stopped with him? Or is he just a brainwashed puppet dancing to Ocelot's string pulls? Because BB may have put the plan into motion, but Ocelot was definitely Venom's handler. I know in the poll, quite a few of you said that soldiers following orders isn't an excuse for the action of the soldier, but I'm going to challenge you on that, because I don't think this is an argument that can even be made in Venom's case. Venom Snake was brainwashed to be BB without his consent. Yes, he signed up to work in MSF, but he did so as a medic. Venom definitely didn't sign any contracts that had a clause that stated at any point in time BB can alter his body however he pleases and set him up as a scapegoat for himself, because that would be bonkers. We also know Venom didn't consent to this because Ocelot had to brainwash him into the plan. From the moment Venom wakes up from his coma, he isn't told the plan. Ocelot knows the plan and is able to hypnotize himself into going along with it, so it's not as though talking to Venom about the plan would ruin it somehow. He's thrust into this masquerade with no thought as to what he wants. Plus, he was previously a medic in MSF, saving lives. What little we see of him pre-Venom, he's focused on what he can do as a medic. He doesn't rush out with BB when Morpho's helicopter lands on MSF's mother base, guns blazing. He hangs back and does what he can as a medic, and failing to save Paz's life clearly creates lasting trauma and is a lingering regret for him even though he doesn't remember it as a personal failure. As Venom, he's suddenly forced into an opposite role where instead of saving lives, he's taking them. That's quite the swing for someone to be okay with. In the true ending, we see the hypnotherapy has started to wear off on Venom, and he gets a cassette tape from BB telling him the truth about himself. Venom smirks, smashes the image of his former self, and walks away as BB. But I ask you, what other option did Venom have? If Venom wasn't down to continue his act as BB, do you think Ocelot or BB would let that stand? Despite BB saying both he and Venom are Big Boss, that the two of them make up the title together, there's nothing further from the truth. Do you think Ocelot would listen to Venom's orders over BB's? If Venom decided he wanted to dissolve Diamond Dogs or take them in another direction that didn't support BB's goals of building Outer Heaven, do you think Ocelot or BB would stand for that? Absolutely not. They'd destroy him and find a better replacement. And even if he got away from them, Where was he going to go? He had nowhere and no one, and had already been manipulated into creating enemies for himself under BB's name. So whether or not Venom agreed with being Big Boss, he had to carry on Big Boss's name and continue to support his goals. BB's goals. Because if Venom had a different idea of who Big Boss was and tried to change his image, there would have been repercussions. Venom's role is to support Big Boss's name, not lead it. That's BB's role. So if Venom is a victim of diminished capacity, I will die on this hill, what happened? Why did he follow BB so steadfastly? Is Venom a victim of Stockholm Syndrome? Yes! Google defines Stockholm Syndrome as a psychological condition of a victim who identifies and empathizes with their captor and their goals. Sound familiar? This description fits Venom to a T. Venom identifies and empathizes with BB's goals, who took him to a hospital in Cyprus to have his face surgically altered to match BB's. He may not have captured him physically, but he definitely captured him psychologically, as he has Ocelot brainwash him into playing his role. Britannica states that at the heart of Stockholm Syndrome is the survival instinct. Venom has enemies coming at him from all sides. Not only does he have BB's enemies to contend with, but he has enemies within his ranks to fend off should his cover get blown. We see these enemies rear their beautiful head when Cause vows to take Big Boss down. Yes, he says he's going to make the Phantom, Venom, stronger in order to do so, but Venom is also Big Boss, so Cause vowing to take down BB is him vowing to take down Venom as well. Stockholm Syndrome covers not only kidnapped people, but people in cults as well. BB is absolutely a cult of personality, and the members of his cult are the soldiers that get sucked up into his orbit. Conclusion. Venom has done plenty of good things and plenty of evil during his time of being Big Boss. But can he take credit or be blamed for any of them? Even when I put my own biases aside, I don't think we can blame Venom for anything he did. He was under the influence of Ocelot's hypnotherapy the entire time, and even when that hypnotherapy started to fade, there were no other options for Venom other than to keep up the charade that he's Big Boss. What do you think though? Is Venom a good or an evil person? Thank you so much for making it to the end of my video. Please like, subscribe, turn notifications on, it really helps me out. And also, check out my Patreon. Let me know if you'd like to see more perks. I definitely have a few ideas cooking. Join us in Discord, we're always talking about MGS. More importantly than that though, please take care of yourself, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Thank you.